On the morning of August 3rd, 1993, a fisherman in North Carolina heads to Gum Swamp Creek, a spot where locals catch catfish. After walking the bank for 30 minutes, he comes across a body, so badly decomposed he couldn't tell if it was a man or a woman. The body belonged to James Jordan, the father of Michael Jordan, who at the time was the most well-known athlete in the world. Just 30 years old, MJ was coming off his third consecutive championship, the most dominant player in the league in the prime of his career. And then he announces his retirement. When asked about the possibility of returning one day, he answered in a strange way.
5 years down the line, if that urge comes back, if the Bulls have me, if David Stern lets me back in the league, I may come back.
Why would Michael Jordan need the commissioner's permission to come back?
Do you have a gambling problem?
No, I enjoy it. It's a hobby. If I had a problem, I'd be starving. I'd be hawking this watch. My championship rings, I would sell my house. I would do this. My wife would left me, or she'd be starving. My kids would be starving. I do not have a problem. I enjoy gambling.
It's no secret that Jordan liked to gamble, sometimes for life-changing money. A golf hustler named James Slim Booler, who regularly played golf with Mike, said this in an interview.
I mean, by the end of the day, how much money did you win from Michael Jordan?
Well, I don't know, like I would say, it was more than $10, but less than $1 million.
There are countless stories of him playing golf for hundreds of thousands of dollars and sometimes racking up tabs in the 7 figures. But Michael bet on a lot more than golf. In 1993, in the middle of the Eastern Conference Finals against the Knicks, the night before a game, Mike leaves New York in a limo and heads to Atlantic City with his dad. He was spotted at the tables until 2:30 a.m. before driving back and playing a game later that day. The Bulls ended up losing that night, and this spawned some theories that Michael might be betting on his own games. But of course he went on to win that series and then the finals that year. Maybe more important than his gambling is who he's gambling with. Yeah, see? Eddie Dow was a bookie of the illegal gambling variety. He would walk to work every day with a stainless steel briefcase. Inside it, he carried cash and a loaded revolver. Eddie would hire some shady people for little jobs here and there. And one day, one of his little minions gunned him down in the street and stole his steel briefcase. Police later found it pried open in the backwoods of South Carolina. The thieves took all of the cash but left behind 3 checks for a total of $108,000, all signed by Michael Jordan. You remember that guy Slim? Well, in 1993, Slim was arrested for drug trafficking and money laundering. I can't believe a guy that goes by Slim is involved in illegal activity. When they searched his stuff, they found a .22 caliber Derringer along with a $57,000 check from Michael. We're starting to see a pattern here. MJ had to testify in a case against Booler and said the payment was to cover gambling losses for betting on golf. 5 months later, Michael's dad disappears. 11 days go by, and then his body is found floating in a swamp in South Carolina. This fuels a lot of speculation, because Jordan's gambling and potential ties to the criminal underworld are front of mind for the public right now. Could the mob have been involved? Was this a targeted hit? Could Jordan have owed the wrong person money? But what happens next shocks the world when 2 18-year-olds are arrested for the murder. These dumbasses started using James Jordan's cell phone to make calls and led the cops right to them. The official ruling was that this was a carjacking gone wrong. In court, one key piece of evidence for the prosecution was a music video that the 2 suspects made. Classic. In it, they're wearing a Bulls championship ring along with James Jordan's watch. These weren't the criminal masterminds that the public was expecting, but people were still suspicious of Jordan's gambling and potential ties to the criminal underworld, and the NBA was suspicious too. The league launched an investigation into Michael Jordan. One of the things they wanted to find out was if Michael was betting on NBA games and who could be involved. During the investigation, MJ drops a bombshell. He announces his retirement at the peak of his career, and the NBA quickly closes their investigation into Jordan's gambling before they even interview Jordan himself. That's definitely not a thorough investigation. A popular theory is David Stern forced MJ into retirement as a secret suspension for violating the league's gambling rules. If it was the case that Mike was betting on games, not only does this undermine the league's integrity, but it also would have been a huge financial hit to the NBA, Nike, and Jordan's personal brand. Billions of dollars would have been at stake, not to mention this could have opened up a legal investigation. But none of that happens. Instead, they conclude their half-assed investigation, clearing Jordan of any wrongdoing before they even ask Jordan if he did anything wrong. MJ then goes on to pursue baseball for a few years. His father always wanted him to play in the MLB, and this was a way for him to honor his dad. He plays in AA for a few years, but never makes it up to the big leagues. During this time, he also films the classic movie Space Jam. And then Mike sends what might be the most famous fax of all time. The Chicago Bulls front office receives a simple message: "I'm back, signed MJ," announcing his return just 18 months after his retirement. And then he went on to win 3 more championships. There never really was a proper investigation into his gambling, the potential links to his father's death, and organized crime. So it's kind of like the GOAT conversation. I guess we'll never really know.